The representation of most people with dwarfism in Hollywood is quite awful, since the general public already regards little people as figures of entertainment, disregarding the fact that they are complex human beings with feelings and emotions.
And he started looking at me and said, "Look at you. The only thing you ever do is be in costumes." It hurt me real bad.
Derogatory roles such as elves, leprechauns, and usually fantasy creatures are largely reserved for people with dwarfism.
I want to live in a world where the elf and the leprechaun and the fantasy isn't my only option.
There are several notable Hollywood actors who have dwarfism, the likes of Tony Cox, Warwick Davis, DeProy, and Peter Dinklage, arguably the biggest actor who suffers from this condition.
They're almost as beautiful.
Yeah.
As Gwen Stefani. She is so fine.
Okay.
If dwarf entertainers consistently rely on stereotypical roles without questioning them, then writers and producers will never question if they are good for anything else. So in the long run, it's the dwarf actors who suffer the more.
At this point, it's like a lot of the opportunity that I get does feel like it's only about me being a little person. So when are we going to start making roles where I'm more than that?
I will tell you how it makes me feel. Cheap. Like some cheap piece of ass. Damn!
The cinematic influence of Peter Dinklage is just astonishing. His acting prowess have overshadowed his physical condition and has made fans realize that he's just as good and as talented as any other normal-sized Hollywood actor.
I want to get out of here for good. And after I do, I don't want to pay no taxes, like, forever.
Is that worth a lot of money?
Oh.
Like how much?
Oh, you can't even think of a number that high.
He has starred in many iconic roles like Miles Finch in Elf, Bolivar Trax in X-Men, Days of the Future Past, and most notably Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, a record-breaking role.
But you're not half as clever as you think you are.
Still makes me more clever than you.
He won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. He also received a Golden Globe Award in 2011 and a Screen Actors Guild Award in 2020 for the role.
You made me feel at home.
But before all this glory, Peter Dinklage was just another average American who had so many dreams and aspirations. Out of all his ambitions, he truly wanted to own a private theater company with his close friends. He never for once felt held back by his physical condition. He loved acting on stage and working on soap operas. He never imagined he would ever become an A-lister in Hollywood. Despite his drive and dedication, he still struggled a lot, and this made him reconsider his life choices. He later settled for a day job due to his financial problems, dusting pianos for months, sleeping with no hits for nearly a decade, drowning in debt, couch surfing, feeling frustrated and empty. Peter finally got a steady job at 23 in application processing. After working for 6 years in application processing, he finally quit and decided to become a working actor at the ripe age of 29.
Ever failed? No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better.
Walt Disney was a respected man in the animation business when he undertook his biggest gamble to date to produce the first full-length animated feature film from an American studio. No one even thought it was possible. The idea was so mind-blowing that critics termed the movie as Disney's folly. The movie was initially budgeted at $250,000, but due to various delays, it's ballooned up to $1.5 million, a huge amount at that time. In the process of creating this feature film, Walt Disney literally had to mortgage his home and other properties in order to finance the production.
You're not only going to laugh a lot, but you're going to shed a few happy tears.
Most of the public forgets, didn't know they weren't there, that Snow White was as big a hit as Star Wars was, as Indiana Jones, those kinds of movies.
I can never stand still. I must explore and experiment. I am never satisfied with my work. I resent the limitations of my own imaginations. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is actually what made Disney the powerhouse it is today. That's until an actress came along to completely trash the movie.
Weird.
She held the movie by the neck and squeezed the daylights out of it.
This right here is exactly their playbook. Act super woke, upset many people, then get crazy amounts of backlash, and then make a video, play the victim. Watch this.
There's a big focus on her love story.
with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah. So no prince or a different kind of prince?
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White already pissed fans off, but she made it even worse when she went around telling everyone how woke Snow White is gonna be in a new adaptation of the Disney classic. Fans made their displeasure very clear. So in this remake, Snow White isn't white, the prince isn't a prince, and the dwarfs are taking a new approach. This was what Rachel had to say to her haters. Extremely appreciative of the love I feel from those defending me online. But please, don't tag me in the nonsensical discourse about my casting. I really truly do not want to say it. This is where the legend himself, the 4'5" short king Peter Dinklage, comes in. Mr. Dinklage on a podcast made it known how he thinks the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs remake is offensive and insensitive to the dwarf community.
Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage recently slammed Disney for its upcoming live-action remake of Snow White. Here's what Dinklage had to say. Literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Take a step back and look at what you're doing here. It makes no sense to me. You're progressives in one way, but then you're still making that effing backward story about seven dwarfs living in a cave together.
Disney, as the little bitch they were, had a knee-jerk reaction to what Peter Dinklage said and responded. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with the 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. This didn't go down well with members of the dwarfism community.
The issue is him being progressive is eliminating 7 potential dream jobs from the dwarf acting community.
Yeah, you're like, well, was it that bad? I go, yeah, because at the time dwarves really didn't have any representation.
This is Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Why are you hiring Snow White and the 7 average people?
Because there was a big uproar at the time. A lot of little people were for it, for his opinion. A lot of little people were against his opinion.
He was even branded the king of the dwarfs since his opinions are final and no one else matters.
Maybe Peter Dinklage is quietly based and actually just doesn't want them to do a remake. I don't know. He's just angry at nothing.
Peter Dinklage making this kind of comments is not surprising at all. Even when he was coming up, most people considered him arrogant because he wouldn't just take any role, especially roles which will make fun of his physical condition. The mindset is clearly what brought him this far. Love him or hate him, Peter Dinklage is a living legend who has single-handedly uplifted the dwarf community.
Shawty say she no go open for the bros. My bros know the play.